Okay, Ali Moreno, Champions League finally is back. A couple of games to start with to review. Let's start in the French capital, if you don't mind. And Bayern Munich taking a one-goal lead over Paris Saint-Germain into the second leg. So they are the favourites. However, the second leg isn't for a while yet. Kylian Mbappe made his return from injury. So what chance do you give PSG in the second leg and overturning the deficit?
It all depends on the status of Kylian Mbappe. It really all depends on the status of PSG overall in terms of fitness and the concerns that they've had with Messi, with Mbappe. Marquinhos apparently is a question. Hakimi is also a question. So really the status of PSG and their fitness, I think, will define what the chances are in the second leg. I will say this. We know from watching PSG that they are disconnected, that they are disorganized, that there isn't a semblance of a team or structure. I think that's clear to see. But I will also say that in the second half, certainly when Kylian Mbappe came on the field, I think there was only one team that was actually electric. In moments, not all the time, but in moments. And that was PSG. When Mbappe is running in behind, it's electric. And while Bayern Munich were dominant and they were good with the ball and they seemed to be the team in control of the match, you never really got the sense that they were going to score a bunch of goals because they weren't creating much. And so if PSG is able to create enough of those electric moments, then they do have an opportunity in the second leg. I don't think this is over. And it's not over because Bayern Munich did not put it away in the first leg. They had, I think, an opportunity in playing against a very vulnerable PSG. They didn't take advantage of that opportunity. Yes, they win at 1-0, but I think this series is still open.
When you look at the differences before Mbappe came on and after Mbappe came on, he was only on the field for 33 minutes at the end of the game. The shots on goal, they didn't have one before that. Then they had four of them on goal. Then the expected goals. Now, whether you're a believer in that or not, it went from 0.04 to 0.88. And they went from one chance created to 4 chances created. So you would like to think they'll manage his minutes between now and the second leg to ensure that A, he can start, and B, if he can be that influential, then PSG have certainly got a chance.
Yeah, they have a chance. And I think while they lost the game, they minimized the damage. And coming into this game, PSG was all over the place and continues to be all over the place. And I don't think we can ignore that in evaluating PSG, there's no real structure or identity to this team. This is pretty much, hey, let's find the front three and see if they can do something. Other than that, we just don't have enough in terms of organization, in terms of personality for this group to be able to withhold or withstand a long run in this tournament. However, I think it all goes back down to whether you believe that this front three on a good day can dominate another team. And on a good day, I still think they can. The problem is that you're not getting a good day from Neymar, and you haven't for a while. You don't know what the fitness level of Lionel Messi is, and we don't know with certainty what the fitness level of Kylian Mbappe is. Now, again, this is the big caveat, and it's what I said at the very beginning. If they're all healthy, if they're all fit, and they're all ready to go, PSG does have an opportunity because I think that Bayern Munich has vulnerabilities and they have some doubt themselves. PSG were not able to exploit those in the first leg, but Bayern Munich were not able to exploit the vulnerabilities of PSG that we had just established. They have their own issues. And so I really think that this is closer than we think. It's closer than what you would imagine. If Bayern Munich taking a lead home, you would think, well, this is game over. I don't think this is over. However, if there was a team that is likely to implode and blow up all over the place in front of us, it's also PSG.
As we have seen in previous years. As far as Bayern is concerned, you covered a lot of the Bundesliga. You've seen them a lot playing domestically, and they've been all right. They've been fine. They're ahead in the table. They've not been great. Maybe they're leaving their best stuff for the Champions League because, like anything, like a golfer who's inspired when it comes to majors as opposed to the bread and butter, they really do come to life in the Champions League. And I tell you what, regardless of who goes through, but if it is Bayern, you wouldn't want to face them in the next round. It's a bit like Real Madrid in the Champions League. They're a slightly different animal, aren't they?
They are, but what we saw from Bayern Munich against PSG in the first leg is what we've been seeing in Bundesliga. A good team with a lot of good players, with structure, with identity, but not necessarily explosive, not necessarily dynamic. They're not going to run away from you. They haven't been able to run away from Bundesliga, which in years past has been an afterthought. They're still in a title race in Germany, and we're seeing a team that is lacking in that productivity and that explosive and dynamic movement that we equate with talented players in the attacking half. They just haven't had that in Bundesliga. They didn't show it in the first leg against PSG, and it is who they are and who they have become. I don't think that this is a team that it's built to be, and I'm going to use a description that I used earlier for PSG, to be electric. I think Bayern Munich right now is more of a team that will grind you, will score a couple goals here and there. But because they don't run away from you, they give you an opportunity. It's what we're seeing in Bundesliga, and I think it's what we saw in the first leg against PSG.
Finally, on this tie, Bayern are favourites, even although Paris Saint-Germain with a fit Mbappe will be a totally different story in the return leg. If Bayern go ahead and continue the form that they showed in the first leg and they knock out Paris Saint-Germain, where does that leave the French side? With all the money that's been spent, but it hasn't been spent really that wisely when you consider it. If they get knocked out the Champions League again, now what?
Implosion. It is, I think, worst case scenario for PSG, because you made these investments and you were thinking big picture, not Ligue 1, you were thinking Champions League, and yet you continue to fail at this level. So there has to be a very close look in-house as to how are we going to do this, what are our objectives, and what are the things that we're willing to do in order to get to those objectives. Because what we've been doing up until this point, just throwing money everywhere, it's not working. It's not the way to build a team. And I think my priority, if I were within the offices of PSG, is how do we build a team with superstars? You can still have superstars, but be part of the structure of a team that knows who they are and how they want to do things on the field, a team that has an identity. You cannot say that about PSG right now.
And if you're Messi, are you thinking, that's another season, no Champions League at this team, maybe it's time to move on in the summer?
If you're Messi, right now, you're sitting at home getting a massage, thinking about, man, this has been a great career. And I'll do whatever I want to do from here on out, whether I play with PSG, whether I go to MLS, or I just sit here in front of my pool and do nothing for the rest of my life. He's achieved everything that he needs to achieve. He has nothing to prove. And so if he ends up continuing to play this game, whether it's at PSG or somewhere else, it's merely and purely because of the love of the game.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.